So my name is George Marshall. This is my 10th year working at Henderson Collegiate. I am the varsity men's basketball coach, athletic director, and Math 2 teacher. Every single year that I coach anywhere, that my coaching staff coaches, our goal is to win a state championship or to compete for a state championship. We say that overtly, so we make that very clear up front to our players, to our families, to the community. And the reality is we know that there will be some years that doesn't happen, and that's okay. But in my opinion, I don't know why you would get into something like high school basketball without trying to reach the highest possible goal that you could. And again, we know that some years that may not be the case, but in order for us to maximize the potential of the group of young men we're working with, we want them going for the ultimate goal. And we think so far for the last 3 years that we've been able to compete for a state championship, this being the third, you've seen that in the first 2 years we've set our mind to that. We've learned and we've been able to participate or compete for that state championship game, which has been really great.
Oh yeah, Coach is a dog. Coach is a dog. Fiery person, gets the best out of every individual, whether it be the coaching staff and player, at every moment. Something that I just love about Coach, and which just we stuck like magnets, is just his competitive nature. Also, what I love about Coach is that it's bigger than basketball. So many things that he teaches us on the court is things that we can take outside of the basketball court and implement it into our lives as we're building up young men for the future.
Now pause right here. You have to pay attention to your man, especially you.
I think that we have a great balance of senior leadership, first and foremost, with really talented incoming juniors, many of whom have either played or practiced with the varsity team last year when they were on JV. But the balance and really the overall strength of our team lies in the 2021 class. So whether that's guys like A.K. Holden, Javante Waverly, Devon Allen, Caleb Royster, Homage Evans, all the way down the line to Chris Franklin and Josh A. Hart. Every single one of those guys is going to play an enormous role for us this season. And in addition to that, 4 of them have been varsity players for now 4 years. So when you talk about a group of guys that have fully internalized our culture and what we're about as a program, those 4, Chris, Devon, AK, and Javante, they're as good as it gets because it's so ingrained within who they are. I think that their story is super unique, and I think that even one of the things that you can probably agree to is that this isn't a typical high school gym. This is a shorter court where this is actually our middle school cafeteria. We've wheeled in an outdoor goal so that we can get more shots up and get more practice in. Sometimes we'll do split development on that goal so that our bigs can get some work specifically. But in terms of how we built the culture of Henderson Collegiate, it comes back to expectations. I've coached Caleb Royster and AK and Homage and Chris since they were literally 7th graders, and I was their middle school coach. And so to see their progression into strong young men has been awesome, but that's come with a lot of heartache and pain as well, because we used to play at a gym where the floor was very slick, where there were broken windows. It literally looked like the gym from Space Jam before they did the spit shine. That's how we like to describe it. But all of those experiences, all the challenges that we've had with our schedule, we believe that any time that we're faced with adversity, we need to use that to turn it into a lesson to make us stronger as a group. And they've done that at every turn. So when you combine that level of tenacity and grit with the expectation of competing for a state championship every season, you get kids who are really bought in, and you get kids who are committed both in the classroom and on the court to do excellent things.
I'm Javante Waverly, class 2021. I go to Henderson Collegiate High School.
On the court, he's a monster. When you get in between these lines, his goal is to destroy you, and it should be, because he's the leader of our team and he's done some incredible things for us over the course of the last 4 years. I think that this year he's got an even higher goal for himself, because he wants to be the point guard that's a lead facilitator, and one of his goals I don't know if he mentioned this, but I know that I've talked to him about it, is he wants to lead the state in assists. And he has the passing ability and the IQ to be able to do that while balancing being a threat to score the basketball. When he is fully committed on defense, well, then the total package is together, and he's one of the best players that's been able to compete in our community for a really long time.
As you know, last year we wasn't able to play the championship game due to COVID-19, but this year I expect us to go back to the championship game and come with another ring.
What team are you looking forward to playing most on this game?
I think that kids will probably tell you really high-profile games.
Burlington School, TBS.
TBS, for sure.
TBS?
Yeah, TBS.
I already overheard Akairis talking about the Burlington School, and they're incredible. So for us to be able to play against teams like that is great. But one of the things that we've really helped kids commit to is this idea that the next game on the schedule is the most important game. So for me, I don't look at any one game on the schedule and say I want to beat that team, because for me, every game is important. You know, especially this year with COVID and how much conference play matters. We have to be ready to go every single game. There can't be a game where we look at it and say, oh, well, we know we're going to do this, or we know we're going to do that, or we have another opportunity down the road. You don't have that this year because there's so many things that aren't promised to you. So our ability to prepare right now for Washington High School, who we play in a scrimmage on Saturday, is the most important thing. So we're going to prepare for them like crazy. Then we're going to prepare for Voyager, and then after that, we're going to prepare for Roxborough Community, so that every game kids are seeing everything matters. Every rep you take matters, every practice matters, every game matters. And what we have done over the course of the last 2 seasons is shown that when you have that mindset and you have a group of kids who buy into that consistently, you're able to compete at a really high level against a lot of good teams.
My name is A.K. Holden. I'm in class of 2021, and I attend Henson Collegiate.
I think that the most important and most impressive thing about Akairis is his humility. I've said this outwardly to college coaches who have talked to me about him. People get enamored with his athleticism because he's been able to dunk for a long time and he's a freak athlete, and all of that is true. But I coach him as hard as anyone I've ever coached, ever. And he'll tell you that. There's sometimes he really doesn't like playing for me, and sometimes we need a little space because he knows I'm gonna make sure that I'm getting the most out of him. But as a result, I think that his humility has really guided him to be very, very successful. And I think that this year people should expect him to do incredible things.
For me, I feel like I need to be more of a vocal leader with the team. Also, I want to try to get Conference Player of the Year. I feel like we're going back to back. We're going to win another ring.
My name is TJ Ragland. I'm in the class of 2022.
TJ is another kid similar to Akairis, who's a little more on the quiet side and leads by example. But when he's full pace, you're not going to stay in front of him. We'll say this here, that he and Jared Small are the 2 most underrated 2022s in the state of North Carolina, period. They're going to do incredible things for us this year. And what's going to happen is down the road, you're going to see it on Twitter. It's going to blow up and, oh, this kid is great. And these kids at Henderson Collegiate, we've known they were going to be great. He has a good wiggle to his game. He actually did his freshman year at Word of God and picked up a lot of good city habits. You know, I know that people who know basketball know there's a difference between a country player and a city player. And so he's got a lot of good city habits with the way that he can wiggle and dribble and do different things that other players just can't do. And I think that this year he's going to be in a position to really set himself apart so that next year when the team becomes his and Jared's and Markel's, when they're the seniors, they're really able to take a huge step in the right direction. But you can say you heard it here first. I don't even really pay attention to any of those things. He's going to shock people with how productive he is throughout the course of this season. I mean, Jared physically is the most impressive player we have, and he's a junior. He's 6'5", legitimately. around 200, 210 pounds, really strong kid. Another kid that's extremely coachable. You know, to give you an example of this, we finished practice last week on the 23rd. It's the last day our rec center's open before they do their holiday cleaning, you know, over the break, which is something they do every single year. First thing he does to me after practice, hey coach, can we go get more shots up? I mean, that's just the type of kid that he is. So now what you're seeing is not just a kid that is strong physically, but in drills, and you saw this a lot when we were doing full court shell, he's doing one dribble reverse, finding the body of the person who's guarding him in the post, one dribble, let me feel where they are, go the other direction, explode up for either a dunk or a layup. He's an incredibly athletic kid, and I think that he provides us with a dynamic we really didn't have last year, which is we don't really have someone who we can throw it to in the block, or we didn't last year, who could get us a bucket. We can do that with Jared. And if you go solo against him with how his development is, it's going to be a problem for the other team.
My goal this year is just to be most improved, you know, from last year to this year, just to grow in a lot of areas. And also for Henderson Collegiate, I just want, you know, a lot of people to know that, you know, we coming. You know, it ain't no backing down, no running away, no crying, complaining. We coming full force.
Detail that you have to have as we run through our offense so that we can be prepared for a great scrimmage on Saturday, okay? So you loving the game has to be there. Has to be. There's not a single NBA player you could ask that doesn't love the game. Even Anthony Edwards, who says he loves football more, he still loves basketball. He still loves the game. That's why he's at the highest level. Love the game. He's going to be challenges. If you love the game, the rest is going to take care of itself.
I mean, in terms of what to expect from Henderson Collegiate, you should expect a group of relentlessly hardworking and dedicated young men who are, right now, in my opinion, one of the more forgotten teams in the state. I believe that in terms of what we're capable of, I've never heard of a team in the state of North Carolina get all the way to a state championship twice and then suddenly kind of fall off the map, which is absolutely what we believe has happened. And that's not a shot at any one person or anything, and we don't play for Twitter likes or, you know, Instagram views or anything like that. That's not really the way that our program is built and never will be. But what I will say is that over the last 2 years, we've won 57 games. Over the last 2 years, we've won 10 state playoff games. We're 10-1 over the last 2 seasons. In the last 2 years, we've won 2 regular season conference championships, 2 conference tournament championships. We've had 8 all-conference players. We're returning 2 of our top 3 leading scorers from last year. So what I would tell people is that they should expect our work not to stop, because we may have fallen off in some people's eyes, but when we get in between the lines in this gym and when we get in between the lines this season, we're going to be ready to compete and ready to play. And that's ultimately the goal that we have every single year at Henderson Collegiate, is to compete at the highest level. And we're excited to do that again this year and hopefully represent our community at a very high level going forward.